Hi, this is River with Pacific Cellular Supply. We're going to be doing an installation in a 1999 Toyota Corolla, and we're going to start off by taking the dash apart. We're going to be using an ISO harness available from Pacific Cellular Supply, and this will be the KlaT7 Bluetooth hands-free kit, complete with A2DP streaming music. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove this piece here. This actually just unpops. So just by grabbing these sections here and kind of pulling towards you, top section comes out, bottom snaps. When you go to pull this out, you'll see to kind of wiggle it. It comes out. You'd have 3 connectors. 1, 2, and just be careful when you're pulling these out. You can damage the actual connector. 3. Take this and set this down someplace safe. Next is going to be 4 screws that remove the radio. Remember when you're unscrewing these to not damage the dash. And don't lose the screws. And that one will come out in a moment. This car already has an aftermarket radio, but it would work the same if it had a factory radio in it. So we're going to remove this, and just be careful of the screws coming out. And we're just going to disconnect this, disconnect that, put this in a safe location. There's my last screw. And from here, basically, I have an aftermarket harness added to the factory harness, which is a beautiful thing. So I can just disconnect this guy. These are standard Toyota plugs. I'm going to take my adapter out of the bag. It's always more fun to rip it. These are a perfect match, and they allow all the factory signal wires to flow through, and only the audio signal wires are the ones that are changed. Notice this does have a 3.5-inch jack for doing auxiliary input, or excuse me, audio output out of the kit, not using the amplifier that comes with the radio. Here's the wireless remote control. Here's the main box. And I'll be taking this and plugging the 24-pin connector in to the KlaT7 box. And in a moment I'll look for a place to put that. Probably the best place is behind the instrument cluster. This is the microphone. It also has the update jack on the side for doing firmware updates. And I'm going to put that up here with this, because this was a little bit of a bear to put on. I already had it set in place. Just move this back a little bit and take this. You can slide it underneath. Some of the newer cars have airbags in these. This car obviously doesn't, but if you have ones that have airbags in the sides, you don't want to remove this panel, or you want to be very careful if you're working with it. So now, I can just trace the wire back down. And now just run the wire up underneath the dash. And fortunately, Toyota put plenty of space up inside here. So now I've got my microphone. The beauty of this kit is there's no screen to have to plug in. Leaves for a nice kind of a very factory look. So now this is all plugged in correctly, and there's a tab that indicates which way this goes. So now I can take this and put it up in behind the instrument cluster, as so. You can kind of see that it basically is now up and out of the way in these harnesses. So now I'm going to plug the radio back in and grab that pesky antenna wire. Make sure you get a good fit before you start screwing stuff down. Don't want to get anything kind of snapped or locked in place that's how you can damage the wires. There's that last screw. I can go ahead and put this back together again and do a test of the system. Remember, if you're working on vehicles that have airbags, you want to make sure you plug in all your connectors prior to doing it. Some vehicles are more specific than others, but you could get an airbag light to come on if you don't put them back in before you start the order again. And this kind of just shimmies into place. Nice, perfect, clean fit.